Hello, eighth grade. Again, we are doing chapter 8, section 4 today. As you can probably tell, I am recording this ahead of time. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm recording all of these ahead of time, but you know what I mean. This is Friday, the 29th of January here. Now, I think this will probably be Wednesday the 3rd when you see this. I don't know. But sometime in early February, when you watch this video, I'm trying to get these done on my Fridays, so I don't have to make you go without a video, like I mentioned on the last one. And so that means the chapter's over. That means it's test time. I'm not sure. I can't think that far ahead, but I will be letting you know in Google Classroom when we're going to come in for that landing. But it'll probably be about this time next week, from the time that you're watching this. But I'll by the time you see this, I'll probably have a more concrete date ready for you because you've already done these questions. So anyway, we'll figure it out. And I'll let you know ASAP. This is all a ramp up to World War I, really. Chapter 9, sorry to spoil this, but Chapter 9 is World War I. And so we'll be getting into the reasons and the causes for that. But as you know, I don't know if it's really come through in my videos or in the notes, but there's a lot of friction developing between most of the civilized world at this point, because you have this idea of expansionism and imperialism and colonialism, where each of the more rich and powerful countries is trying to establish their dominance and their exploitation of these smaller countries, specifically South America, Latin America, Central America, which we call the little line of nations between North and South America, which is what specifically we're going to talk about today, because they're not really technically an isthmus anymore because they do not connect anymore. And that's, what we're going to be talking about today. The Panama Canal, of course. This is, of course, before, obviously, air travel. This is just at the very infancy of the idea of transporting things by automobile. The Model T is only a few years old at this point. And so most of high volume shipping is done literally by ship. And so if you're going to ship something from even just New York to Los Angeles, which are two of, now in 2021, the two biggest cities in America, but back then even two of the biggest cities in America, you have to cross multiple mountain ranges, and even by what level of automobiles they had at that time, that is not an easy thing to do. And so the most efficient way to do that is by boat. But to do that by boat, you've got to go all the way around the tip of South America. And so to get from here, I'm going to move my head out of the way. To get from here to here, you have to go all the way around South America. I'm not sure why this labeled this Latin America here. And so Panama is right there. You can see it's just a little skinny guy there. And so building a Panama Canal is going to allow us to not only shorten that trip by a great amount, but make that trip much safer, because just like traveling through near the North Pole, down near the South Pole is very dangerous as well. And so you're not only going to save time, you're going to save billions of dollars, but you're also going to save lives. I wish I could tell you that last part was important to the people that were buying and selling and shipping. It probably wasn't, but they're at least going to save some money. Panama was an isthmus. I'm going to go back real quick. Is a narrow strip of land connecting two larger bodies of land. You can see that pretty clearly right here. There are other isthmuses here in the Middle East, okay, here in Asia. So you get the idea. It was only about 50 miles wide at its narrowest point, making it the perfect site of a canal. A French company had purchased the rights to the land and offered to sell them to the United States. We bought the rights for $40 million. However, this is not making it a done deal, okay? It's not just enough to say, hey, we own this land, we can carve through it now and basically divide your country into two, we have to have the Panamanians on board too. I really do feel like they missed a big opportunity not calling themselves Panamaniacs, but that's another discussion for another day. Colombia owned Panama, and they rejected the U.S. offer to lease the land. And Roosevelt, Teddy, still made it. He kind of mentioned offhand, like, "Well, it sure would be cool if Panama were independent. Then we could strike a deal with them." And so the Panamanians followed the lead of the Americans and the French and the Cubans, overthrowing the Spanish and several other countries around the world. This has become a very popular thing that these nations were throwing off their colonial, whatever word you want to use, oppressors or colonizers or whatever word you choose, to regain their independence. And so they revolted, and we provided not as much military support, but at least financial support. And they were able to win their freedom from Colombia. Okay, and at that point, we were able to easily strike a deal. We provided support for them, and so once they'd gained their independence, they were very eager to make a deal with us to allow us to build the canal across their nation. Many people in Congress were like, "I don't even think we should be doing this." Teddy Roosevelt said, "That's fine. You can argue about that in Congress." You probably read this quote yesterday. You can argue in Congress, but while you're arguing, we're going to be digging. This is in a very swampy tropical climate, and so there were many deaths and diseases, yellow fever and malaria specifically, but it opened in August of 1914, and it was a huge, massive success. We still lease this for something like 900. I don't know the number off the top of my head. I could have looked it up, but it's like $1 million a year or less, and we save, even to this day, when shipping is far less necessary by boat. We save billions of dollars a year by use of Panama Canal. And it's got a really cool system of locks, which is where it's basically able to get boats uphill on water, which is not an easy thing to do. But basically a boat gets into a gated area, and the gate closes, and the water fills, and the boat comes up to another level, and it keeps going. It's a pretty cool system. If you want to Google it, if you're interested, you can Google Panama Canal locks, LOCKS, just like a lock, but it's a different thing. And so not only financially, but militarily. Okay. Roosevelt's favorite saying was an old African proverb that people could speak softly and carry a big stick, basically meaning we're not going to be talky-talky. If we're going to have issues internationally, we are going to be a country of action. We are going to prevent anarchy overseas, and we're not, we'll try to use our big boy words and use diplomacy to do that. But mostly we are going to respond to threats with force, not with, don't threaten us. Today, North Korea threatens to nuke us all the time. Teddy Roosevelt would have been like, all right, let's whoop them. But things are a little bit more complicated now with the advent of nuclear weapons. You got to be careful who you threaten to nuke or whatever. He passed the Roosevelt corollary. The Monroe Doctrine said that basically Europe needs to stay out of Latin America business, but the Roosevelt corollary said, but we can get in their business whenever their actions make their nation seem unstable. For instance, we took control of the Dominican Republics, Had to pause there. I had a big sneeze coming on. I got it out. I sneezed, but I paused the video. Sorry. Basically, it's saying that we are going to exercise an international police power over the world. This has been a subject of argument for decades, if not centuries, in America. And there are very good arguments on both sides. There's a very good argument that we should mind our own business, but there's also another argument that's also very valid, that we should not let other countries kill their citizens and plunge the nation's and the world's economy into chaos. Like it or not, the world is shrinking, not literally, but with the advent of the internet and the idea of an American economy is not really existing anymore. We're now a world economy, and all the peoples of the world are interconnected, for better or for worse. And so the idea of isolationism doesn't really hold much water nowadays in 2021, let alone back in the early 1900s. The United States begins to make investments in Mexico. But there's a civil war brewing in Mexico, and we use military force to protect our investments. Once Woodrow Wilson takes office, he believed in something called dollar diplomacy, which we should use our money instead of our bullets to get our way overseas. And so he used our money to support Carranza, which was the rival, Carranza Huerta, which you probably read about yesterday, were rivals in the Mexican Civil War. It didn't really work out. There we go. But anyway, this guy named Pancho V, I've got the hottest meme of 2015 here on this. Basically, he killed a bunch of Americans and escaped into Mexico. And we were going to chase him down and kill him, but then World War I broke out. And so, as you can see here in this very timely, up to date, 2015 meme, our interests, we became distracted by World War I. He killed 16 Americans, like I just said, and we pursued him. Never caught him because war was breaking out in Europe, and there were more pressing global issues, which is called the Great War, or as you know it now, World War I, which is where we will leave off and pick up in Chapter 9. Fill out the questionnaire for today's attendance. Your question for today is to put a number between 100 and 120. Pick a number, any number between 100 and 120. Don't care what. That's going to be how I know you watched the video today. Stay safe, wash your hands, stay 6 feet apart, all that good stuff, and I will see you soon.